All right, it's very cool here in Lagos, Nigeria, the commercial nerve center of course, Africa. You can say that. I hope the weather is very cool and friendly to you wherever you're joining us from around the world. My name remains Ashalo Lubafemi. Today on the show, so much to talk about regarding football on the continent of Africa, of course, from Nigeria. Then, of course, we look at Ghana and other things happening in other countries. Kyle Gundare is here. James Agurebe is also here. Kyle Day has recovered from the hangover of Super Eagles qualifying for the 2024 AFCON. Kyle Day, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Femi. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Okay, James, welcome to the show once again.
I'm happy to be here on today's edition.
Okay, so let's get started. Of course, the FIFA Women's World Cup will be kicking off next month now. It's about 3 weeks' time. Of course, all the countries will be heading to Australia and New Zealand for that tournament. And of course, the pay dispute in the Canadian female national team about pay raise. Let's really look at that. If it's going to add some maybe advantage to the Falcons. Because they are saying that the captain of the team, the Canadian captain, is saying that they have to, of course, that has to be resolved before they will be heading to their tournament preparation for the game. Let's look at it. Is that going to add some advantage to the Falcons? This has been what a lot of female national team have been clamoring for. A number of countries have actually done that. Of course, ensuring that the men and the women senior team get equal pay. But this time, this team, they're asking for it. James, do you think this is going to add some advantage to the Falcons?
Well, for me, I do. Because the difference between their own clamor compared to our own is our own players, they get old. They owe them, they don't pay them. And this thing has been on for a very long time. I remember the 2004 women's AFCON when the Falcons, they refused to return to the country with the trophy because they were old, So this one, they hold them. They don't pay them. But in the case of a country like Canada, it's not if they don't pay them, they pay them. But I think they just want equal. And I believe it's something that can be resolved because they're a big team, current Olympic champions, I think it's something that they can sit together and trash out, unlike our own case here where it will drag on, and there's even issues now even for the Super Falcons. I read what the former Super Eagles media officer, what he wrote on his Twitter handle. The Falcons and other teams too. The World Cup, for being in the group stage, you get $30,000 each year. So, but the way we do things here, so he's saying that the possibility of the Super Falcons players not getting the money on time because of all the way we run things here.
But I heard FIFA are going to pay that directly to the players, not through the federations.
That's what that's how it's supposed to be. But how we run our own things there. You start hearing issues later that the players have not gotten their money. So that's what he was trying to bring out. So that's the difference between us and countries like Canada. They will only find a way to resolve their own issues. It's not as if they don't get paid, but they're just asking for pay rise. But in our case, later on, you start hearing issues, start hearing stories. So for me, it has nothing to do whether it's going to kind of be at the advantage for the Super Falcons. It's all about preparations. When you have good preparations, since we saw themselves out.
Kayode, I'm sure you've seen the list released by Randy Wardrum. Though a lot of Nigerians do not hold any optimism regarding the performance regarding what the Falcons will likely do at the World Cup, because a lot of people have not been impressed about performance of Wardrum, I think including yourself. But Kayode, according to FIFA, about 26% of female players who participated in the World Cup qualifier didn't get their bonuses. Like they just split just to, just out of love for the country, or maybe, just for some of them, they need this card for their their professional club football, maybe in terms of moving from one country to the other. That came to my mind. Not that I'm trying to vilify Nigeria, but I know a lot of issues that we've had about payments. And I think if that is well traced, you find out that a number of maybe Super Falcons players would be among these 26% that FIFA talked about?
It could actually be Nigerians that are the 26% that FIFA
Come on,
referred to.
come on.
It is very possible. I still wonder at our criminal lack of processes and procedures that, I mean, we've been playing organized football for over 50 years and we still battle with all these teaching problems like regular payments of
Teaching
bonuses
problem.
and
Wow.
of everything.
That's instructive. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. There are players, even if you go to the men's side of the game, there are players who are still owed bonuses and allowances. I remember John Noble, the Eyimba goalkeeper, who is still crying that he has not been paid his AFCON bonuses and everything. For me, I think it is high time. And these are some of the things that I tell people when we talk about it, Femi, that beyond what happens on the pitch, outside the pitch is also a very big problem because it is what happens on the pitch or outside the pitch that will directly impact on what you're able to do on the pitch. As per the list that our coach released, the better we do not talk about it. Because I've always said something, Femi. Nigeria, the women's team of Nigeria has nothing to prove to anybody in Africa again. We have forget the fact that we were dethroned as African champions at the last women AFCON, but we have absolutely dominated Africa. It is time to take our game to the global stage, which we have not been able to do. And I do not see anything changing with this coach, Remy. It doesn't inspire my confidence. Number one. Number two, and this is not because he has a day job or he has a part-time job. Actually, it is a Nigerian job that is his side also. He has a day job. He's Nigeria, and I don't know where those kind of arrangements are made. And these are some of the things I said we may not forgive the immediate past NFF administration easily for some of the atrocities committed against Nigerian football. How you're going to employ a university teacher who teaches football, soccer at an American university to become a part-time coach of the Nigerian national team without having a Nigerian who is the substantive coach? Probably you could have had him in a technical capacity, technical advisory capacity, not that you undo the team to him full-time when you know that he has other obligations. The team has not done anything under him. We have done the normal things that we do. We qualify for competitions. We do this, we X, Y, Z. So I do not have any hope, honestly, for me. Let's just go, have fun, and come back home. That's what I think.
All right, okay. James, of course, in an interview that I was privileged to be part of, Samuel Chukwueze, who plays for Villarreal, was saying that, reacting to some of the criticism that he's facing the Super Eagles, he said that bad pitches in Nigeria are the reason why he has not been playing for the country. And quickly, I released some of the quotes. He said the pitch does not allow you to do what you want to do, what you know how to do best. He said, but if you have good pitches and you come to your country and say, okay, come and play, you are going to enjoy football. You are going to enjoy some talent here. He said the scariest part is when you are playing for your country and the pitch is not good and you are scared to control the ball. So it will wobble or pass your leg and you want to shoot and people will say, oh, this guy doesn't even know how to play football. Those are what he said. But a former international, Peter Niketin, who played for Nigeria at the 1987 Chile under-20 FIFA World Cup, he said it's just excuses. And quickly I said it is due to lack of commitment. He said you cannot say because you are playing in Europe, if you come back to Africa because of the pitches, you cannot give your best. Osimhen plays football the way he plays on the street, and that is the same figure he uses to play everywhere. It is a poor man that quarrels with his tools. James, do you agree with either Chukwueze or Peter Niketin? Quickly.
I think I want to go with Chukwueze. These are players who...
As in for you, James?
Yes, they never played. You have to call them some slacks. So sometimes you have to question their commitment, but at the same time, you have to reason things from their own angle. These are players who left Nigeria at a very young age. Most of these guys, they never played in Nigerian league. You just have to know that. Many of them, they never never played
But growing up, he played football on. Did he play football on the kind of standard you find at Old Trafford or San Siro?
Check how long they've been outside the country. These are guys who, if somebody like Chukwueze, after the Under-17 World Cup, he went straight to Europe and he playing on good facilities. But when you now bring them back to the country and you feel you can just give them any pitch to play on because finally they grew up here, and I mean these guys they are now established stars, so they deserve the best. So if the Super Eagles is our number one brand, then they deserve the best. But this idea of taking them from one stadium to another, look at the pitch they played on against Guinea-Bissau, which they lost. Fine, you want to play there, but it was a horrible pitch. It was a very, very horrible pitch. When they played against...
It was on the same pitch that Guinea-Bissau scored, right? It was on the same pitch.
Super Eagles players on Guinea, how many professional players do Guinea-Bissau have? So, and one thing again, remember when they played against Sao Tome and Principe, the Super Eagles hammered them 10-0. They played on a lush green pitch in Morocco. They enjoyed that pitch because it allowed them to play their football. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but sometimes you have to sit down and think about these things. Sometimes, remember the time Osimhen came to play for Super Eagles and he got injured here, and the club was not very happy about that. Sometimes when they come here and it's as if they're at risk. Sometimes when they don't do some of these things, you feel they don't want to. But sometimes you have to reason with these guys. I've kind of questioned some of their commitment in the past, but sometimes you have to also reason with them. Chico is a very fine player. Okay. What he did for Villarreal against Real Madrid.
I'm sorry to both in there, but
Kayode, sorry, I was going to cut in. Kayode,
I totally disagree with James. I totally disagree.
Kayode, yeah. Before you go ahead, sorry, I was going to say something. The same pitch against Sierra Leone, we saw how horrible that pitch was. Not even television friendly. It was not camera friendly.
They're not going to play. They're not going to play there every day.
It was on the same pitch. I'm just like, Kayode, it was on the same pitch. Osimhen scored 2 goals. For someone to now come out, someone who came from Africa, to now come and use pitches, the quality of playing surface as an excuse. Kayode, what do you have to say? Go ahead.
I totally disagree with James and with Samuel Chukwueze. You have to say, as much as I am an advocate of these players, I am their fan. I totally agree with most of the things they do. I appreciate their sacrifices, because for me, I will not deceive you. Any player that gets on the plane each time to come and represent their country back in Africa, they are putting their lives on the line. We've seen a lot happen, plane crashes. Actually, a Malaysian aircraft disappeared up to today. Femi, nobody has seen it. Imagine if it was carrying a player, some players. So for me, each time you come to represent your country, I believe you are putting your life on the line. So we have to appreciate these players. But we do also have to question not their commitment now, but they have to find consistency, especially Chukwueze. He struggles for consistency, and this is not only in the national team, he also does at the club level, Femi. Okay. He has to put together a good run of games for the national team before we actually start taking him seriously. So when you begin to question the pitches, he's not the only player who did not play in Africa before leaving. Femi, well, what the players of the 80s and 90s had over the current set is the fact that practically all of them had played in Nigerian league. They played against African opposition, so it was easy for them to adapt their games to whatever you bring. I remember in 1993 when the Super Eagles had to play Congo in Point Noir. They played on the pitch that you would not even raise cattle on. But you know what they did? They did a smash and grab. They got a 1-0 victory courtesy of the late Rashidi Yekini, and the fans were so furious that right from the stadium they had to rush to grab to get on their plane. They pursued them, according to Mutia Adepoju. The angry fans pursued them from the stadium to the airport. It was the quick intervention of the army that saved Nigerian players on that day. Wow. So these are experiences that the current players do not have. They are not as tough as those we used to know. One, then you also have to, like I said, you have to question. You have to ask for consistency. Chukwueze, I can bet you that if I ask you to name 10 memorable games that he has played for the national team, you struggle to name them.
Not even 5.
No, not even 5. So why commitment? That because we enter a plane Africa to play committed, I will question their consistency. Some of them, especially some of them like Chukwueze. That's he's a very good player. One of the most exciting young players that we have at the moment. But I always question his consistency. It is not totally a bad thing. It is just something to work on. But when you come out and say the pitches are bad, you ask yourself, out of 11 players on the pitch, how many of you feel the pitch is bad? If it is the same pitch that the opposition team will play on and score, like you said. So for me, that is a very, very lame excuse for me. And I do not agree with those people like James who think that what he has said made any sense at all.
But it will be to ask. It will be to question the pitch when they play against them.
James, I will also question the quality of the pitch, but then you cannot question Iwobi's consistency. That's what I'm saying.
In the national team, I agree.
It's about the consistency of games now, putting together a run that, okay, I can say the last 5 memorable games that Iwobi has played. Mention the last 5 memorable games that Chukwueze has played for Nigeria. It doesn't make him a bad player. It's just about putting together a consistent run. That's what we are saying, James. And nobody's questioning their commitment. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Guys, let's throw this to our fans. Our fans, please, want you to get into the conversation regarding this. Whether you are in Ghana, you are in Cameroon, you are in South Africa, you are in Canada, you are in the UK, of course, you're an African. And of course, you've seen your national team play. You know what we're talking about. You are very, it is relative, so to say, but you know what we're talking about. Do you think African players who are playing in Europe now have the right to blame the pitches in Africa for their performance each time they come around to represent the country? Wanted to get into the conversation. Guys, let's go to Ghana now. Of course, remember, there's still a lot of criticism hovering around Chris Sutton following the Black Stars' failure to beat Madagascar in that AFCON qualifier. Kayode was not around in our last recording. But I think recently, the GFA, they've been facing a lot of questions regarding that, particularly the secretary or general secretary of the body, Prosper Sinado. And he's saying that the weather in Ivory Coast will help the Black Stars to win the AFCON. Quickly, let's hear what he said. He said it will require a lot of hard work and good preparation to make it happen. Talking about weather now, he said so. Yeah, he said the rest of Africa want Ghana to be at the AFCON. Our determination to be there, including good weather and everything. Ivory Coast suits us. So we are hoping to qualify and go and win the cup. He said in an interview with Asamoahs FM, Kayode, one, Ghana are not there yet. We know that, of course, in their last game against the Central African Republic, they will do the job in September. But Kayode, do you think they should rely on weather to say the weather suits them and it will help them win the tournament?
Ghana and Ivory Coast are neighbors. They share borders.
Yeah.
But then I recall that in 1998, Burkina Faso that also shared borders with them up north, hosted, and Ghana were knocked out in the first round. So for me, depending on the weather to win alone is absolute bunkum.
Is that a prophecy?
No, it's not actually. I'm not saying that you cannot rely on, because even if Ghana, and don't forget that in 2008, Ghana hosted. In 2010, in 2000, they co-hosted with Nigeria.
With Nigeria, yeah.
These two, they did not win, even when they played at home. So now you are telling me that because you are going to play in a neighboring country, the weather will suit you. No, good preparation, adequate planning is what will guarantee, and luck too, is what will guarantee a victory. Not the fact that you are going to play in Ivory Coast, which is next door, which is your next door neighbors. You have to prepare. You have to prepare your team. You have to put everything in place. The processes must be right on time. Then you also have to pray for luck. Femi, I keep emphasizing this. There's a place of luck in everything we do. Some people call it a God factor, that it is God in action. Yeah, it is. But for those who do not believe in God, they should believe in luck, that luck plays a part in all of this. So if all of those three factors are present, then Ghana might finally end their 41 years trophy drought. But if the only weapon that Ghana will take to the AFCON in Ivory Coast is the fact that they share borders and they have the same weather conditions, then they better stay home in Accra and not attend the competition.
Okay, James, let's talk about Asamoah Gyan. Of course, on Tuesday, Asamoah Gyan announced his retirement from professional football. I know Kayode and yourself were among the people who forced Asamoah Gyan to retire, and I will say why. During the 2022 FIFA World Cup preparation, he said he wanted to help the Black Stars at the World Cup, and both of you said he's not needed, and we knew how it ended for the Black Stars. Now he has announced retirement, and the GFA are saying that they are planning a farewell for Asamoah Gyan, because of what he's done. Tribute has been pouring in left, right, and center for a true Ghana legend. James, finally, Asamoah Gyan, no hope of coming back to professional football. He has hung his boots.
Yeah, that was I wasn't surprised that he just announcing it. To me, I felt he has retired a long time ago. So he just making it official, So a good one for him. You always remembered one of Ghana's greats. To me, I think is the last world-class striker that the Blacks have had. When you want to check out years go by, I don't think there's any replacement for him yet. So I think that was one of the setback in the Black Stars. They don't have that point man like Asamoah who take chances, who finish off chances. I think that was one of the obstacle in the team now. So I know a lot of people want to remember him for the 2010 World Cup penalty miss. But if you want to think about that, you also think about the good things he has done for the Black Stars. I remember in 2010 AFCON in Angola, I think it was his goals who took that team all the way to the final. It was a pretty young team, but he led the line and he was able to help them all the way to the final. Unfortunately, they met a very experienced Egyptian side that knocked them out, that defeated them in the final. So for me, Asamoah Gyan, he has done it all for Ghana. Unfortunately, he was not able to help them win the AFCON. That's why playing in two finals, 2010, 2015. So he will be somebody that's going to be remembered. And it's so unfortunate also that he never got to win the African Footballer of the Year.
AFCON, yeah. Even AFCON, you say, I heard that was his dream. He wanted to win the AFCON for Ghana.
For Ghana, and also African Player of the Year. Never had the opportunity of winning it. But he holds the record as the only African to have scored the highest goals at the World Cup. So a good one for him. It's a good, for at a legend, already this testimonial for those who have done well for the country, and what better way to sign him off with such a good gesture. So wish him best of luck. If he's going to go into coaching, wait and see for that.
Okay, of course, the GFA has said that they are going to meet with Asamoah Gyan to plan to put together a proper plan so that it can be sent off in a Grand Star. Kayode, last weekend we had Dreams defeating King Faisal in the NFA Cup in Ghana. And now the vice president of Dreams, of course, remember, they will be representing Ghana in the CAF Confederations Cup next season. The vice president of Dreams, Prince Abdul Hamid, has said that they do not have money to participate in continental football. And quickly, in an interview, speaking with the same as Empire FM, of course, the GFA Secretary General spoke to, he said, we don't have money to participate. He said, but we are ready. Kayode, I don't know what to call this. Of course, if they weren't anticipating to win the tournament, the competition, why go into it? Because knowing fully well that once you win this tournament, this is where it leads. Now, the club management are coming out to say that they do not have money to participate in the competition. I do not know how we run things or how we do things here in Africa.
Ready for what now? If you don't have money, you say you are ready. Ready to do what?
So if anyone puts money down, they'll participate.
No, what are you ready for? On a serious note, I think it is the responsibility of the GFA to nominate the team that will represent Ghana at that competition. Even though they have won, by right, they should have been the team. But if they say they are not able to, it is better they come forward and say it now so that the GFA can look for another team, probably the runner-up, to represent Ghana. It's
But
not by
not
force
RTU,
that they
but
should.
not RTU, certainly. But not RTU.
Yes, thank you very much. It's not by force that they must represent Ghana at that competition, because, and it's better for me that they are coming out upfront to say they do not have money rather than start the competition and then pull out. That's when they would have been fined heavily by CAF. Now they have not committed any offense yet. All they need to do is, they said they cannot participate. Yeah, thank you very much for coming. We are going to nominate another team that has the resources to participate. For me, it is capitally intensive to embark on an African campaign, and it is only, that's why in every country, it is not every team that can do that. There are a select few clubs that can actually represent their countries. They have shown that they are not one of them. It is nothing to be ashamed of, Femi, to be honest. It is you knowing your ability and your capacity. They know now that they do not have the capacity, they do not have the ability to sustain a challenge in Africa. And they are saying this so that somebody else can take their place. So for me, it's good, but you should not tell us that they are ready if they don't have money. If you don't have money, hide your face.
But if you don't have money, I think you shouldn't even run football clubs. That's what I'm saying. Because
Yeah,
you
Femi,
should
you
know
could
that
actually
you
run
are.
a football club. There are many reasons why you could actually run it as an NGO, as a charitable organization. Yeah, that's allowed. It could be a non-profit organization. That's also allowed. You could just want to give a platform to young players to express their talent and everything. That's also allowed. So, Femi, it's not a sin to not have money, but it is a sin to want to engage in what other teams that do this for a business do without you having a proper business plan. That is what is lacking in most sub-Saharan African leagues, where teams depend on either a sponsor, an individual sponsor, or government, like the case in Nigeria, where we have like almost every team depending on
it's owned by government
for subvention. And that means that when the government in power does not have an interest in sports, the team will suffer. Football is much more than just PR. That's what we should let our people know. If you play football the right way, you could make tons of money. It was easy I tell people that, see, if you have ever gotten money from football, it will be easy for you to spend money on football, because the more you put in, is like a lottery, the more you expect to make, Femi, when things work your way. That's why it was easy for Kunle Shoname, the owner of Remo Stars, the chairman of Remo Stars, to be able to splurge that huge amount of money on his team for their performance at the
in the Super Six,
Super Six, because he has made money from football. He's still investing in football anyway. But he's also made money. He sold a couple of players. He has a team in Portugal. He knows what it is. Football money is like blood money, Femi. It is money that keeps renewing. It's like money ritual. In Ghana, they call it Sikaduro. It's like money ritual that you keep. It keeps repeating itself. The money keeps coming every single year, as long as your player is fit and is injury free and informed. The money is sure to come, but you have to do the hard work first. The heavy lifting has to come first. Once you do it, the money will always come.
James, as a roundup, now let's talk about the Black Meteors. Of course, they've landed in Morocco at the venue of course, the Under-23 AFCON, of course, which will also serve as qualifier for the Olympics. They've had a wonderful pre-tournament preparation in Egypt, and they'll be facing Congo on 25th, which is, of course, this weekend. What do you think we should expect from the Black Meteors? Of course, 4 players were dropped from the initial list that was released. What do you think we should expect from Black Meteors? Of course, playing against Congo, a team they are not strangers to.
Well, based on the kind of preparation they've had, I think we should expect a good outing from them. I think they trashed the Zamalek team 4-1. You know, had a couple of good tune-up games. So based on that, we expect them to do well at the tournament. When the home-based Ghanaian team went to the Black Galaxies, the expectations were high, but unfortunately they couldn't go far in the CHAN. So I just hope that the Black Meteors will not go the same way, because they've had a good preparation. They've done well in the tune-up game. The only thing left now is for them to go to the competition and do well. Can't remember the last time the Black Meteors go to the Olympics. If I'm not mistaken, that should be 2004 in Athens, if I'm not mistaken. That was a very long time ago. And their best outing at the Olympics was in Barcelona '92 when they were bronze. So for me, all the best to them. I just hope that they're able to make it out from this under 23 AFCON, so that they're able to participate in the next Olympic in Paris.
Okay, so on the final note, Kubli, the head coach of Chiyumba FC in Ghana, in the Ghana women's division, is said to have beaten a female referee, Mohamed Sakina Nasara, to pop. I saw the picture of the female referee receiving emergency treatment with, of course, with everything on her body. The referee, I think hopefully by now the referee will have been discharged, but it is part of the very ugly monster that we keep saying rearing its ugly head in African football. And we hope that people, the authority in Ghana, particularly the GFA, will do the needful. We've talked about maybe sanctioning it, maybe even a ban, if possible, for a club or even official who are engaged in this violence. Guys, thank you today once again for your incisive analysis on Nigeria's Farmers Forum. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. See you next time.
Yeah. So to our fans around the world, we do not take your support lightly at all for sticking with Nigeria's Farmers Forum all this while. We wanted to get into conversation, particularly about what to discuss about Samuel Chukwueze, blaming bad pitches for his performance for the Super Eagles. Then we think players in Congo, in maybe Madagascar, in other African countries should also blame pitches, bad pitches for their performance because they play in Europe. What do you think? Let's know what you feel in the comment section. We'll see you all later. Bye for now.